Hey, my name is Sandeep Tekchandani. I'm the founder of Sandeep.mba and welcome to my GMAT video lesson. Before we start this topic, I would like to share something with you all. The common man perceives numbers in an ordinary way, but a true mathematician has the power of unique perspective. Mathematicians explore, simplify, and capture the essence of a number. They envision numbers in a way that is infinitely imaginative and unparalleled. With this beautiful thought in mind, I would love to welcome you to one of my favorite topics, the properties of integers. So in this GMAT video lesson, we'll start with the basics of integers. We will learn what are positive and negative integers, even and odd integers, consecutive integers, what are the properties of 0, and eventually we will explore the properties of 1. So let's start with the basics. What are integers? Integers are the set of negative whole numbers and the set of positive whole numbers together. For example, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on are examples of integers. If a and b are integers and a is not equals to 0, then a is a divisor or a factor of b, provided that b is equals to a times n, where n is an integer. In this case, you can say that b is divisible by a or a multiple of a. 5 is a divisor or a factor of 20 because we know that 5 times 4 is equals to 20. Another example, 6 is not a divisor of 20 since there is no integer n such that 20 is equals to 6 times n. In simple words, 20 does not appear in the multiplication table of 6. The number 6 cannot divide the number 20 perfectly. In this slide, we will learn about the division of integers. I'll give you a very important formula that contains the quotient and the remainder. Please by heart this formula for your GMAT exam. The formula is dividend is equals to divisor times quotient plus remainder. Say I take the number 10 and I divide it by 3. I'll get the quotient as 3 and the remainder as 1. Because we know that 10 is equals to 3 times 3, which is 9 plus 1. A is divisible by B if and only if the remainder is 0. Say I take the number 100 and I divide it by 10. I'll get the remainder as 0 because we all know that 10 times 10 is equals to 100. If a smaller integer is divided by a larger integer, then the quotient is 0 and the remainder is the smaller integer. For example, 2 divided by 3 will give me the quotient 0 and the remainder 3. Because we know that 2 is equals to 3 times 0, which is 0, plus 2. In this slide, we will learn some rules regarding even and odd integers. If at least one factor of a product of integer is even, then the product is even, otherwise odd. Let me illustrate this point with the help of an example. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 5 is 30 and 30 times 7 is 210, which is an even number. Another example, 3 times 5 is 15 and 15 times 7 is 105, which is an odd number. The second rule says that if we have two integers and both the integers are either even or both the integers are odd, then their sum and their difference are even. Otherwise, their sum and their difference are odd. Say I take two numbers, 7 odd and 11 odd. If I add them up, I'll get 18, which is an even number. And if I subtract them, I get 4, which is again an even number. Another example, say I take two numbers, 7 odd and 10 even. If I add them up, I'll get 17, which is an odd number. And if I subtract 7 and 10, I'll get 3, which is an odd number. In this slide, we will study what do you mean by prime numbers. A prime number is a positive integer that has exactly two unique positive factors, 1 and itself. The numbers 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, and 13 are prime numbers. But 16 is not a prime number because we know that 16 has 5 distinct positive divisors. They are 1, 2, 4, 8, and 16 itself. My friends, please remember that 1 is not a prime number because it has only one and only one positive factor, that is 1 itself. If an integer is greater than 1, then the integer is either prime or the integer can be prime factorized. Let's say I take the number 100. I can prime factorize it as 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 5 is 20, and 20 times 5 is 100. In this slide, we will study what do you mean by consecutive integers. Observe these numbers: -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. The numbers are increasing by 1. Therefore, they are consecutive integers. Consecutive integers can be represented by x, x plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 3, where x is an integer. Observe these numbers: 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8. The numbers are increasing by 2. Therefore, they are called consecutive even integers. Consecutive even integers can be represented by 2x, 2x plus 2, 2x plus 4, and so on. Next, consider these numbers: 1, which is an odd number; 3, odd number again; 5 is odd; 7 is odd; and so is 9. The numbers are increasing by 2. Therefore, they are called consecutive odd integers. They can be represented by 2x plus 1, 2x plus 3, 2x plus 5, and so on, where x is an integer. In this slide, we will study the properties of 0. 0 was invented by an Indian mathematician called Aryabhatta. The first characteristic of 0 is that it is neutral. It means 0 is neither positive nor negative. If a is any number, then a plus 0 is a. For example, 10 plus 0 will give you 10 only. A times 0 is nothing but 0. For example, 10 times 0 will give you nothing but 0. Division by 0 is not defined. For example, 10 divided by 0 is undefined. In this slide, we will study the properties of a very interesting number. That number is 1. If x is any number except 0, then 1 times x will give you x. 1 times 5 will give you 5. For any number x not equals to 0, x times 1 upon x is equals to 1. For example, 5 times 1 is 5, and 5 divided by 5 is equals to 1. 1 can be expressed in several ways. For example, x upon x is equals to 1 for any number x not equals to 0. Another characteristic is multiplying or dividing an expression by 1 in any form does not change the value of that expression. For example, I take the expression x plus y, and if I multiply this expression by 1, I'll get x plus y only. Another example, I take the same expression x plus y, and if I divide that expression by 1, I'll again get x plus y. So let's just summarize. What did we learn in the properties of integers? We started with the basics. We learned that integers are the set of negative whole numbers and the set of positive whole numbers together. We also learned what are positive and negative integers, even and odd integers, consecutive integers, properties of 0, and eventually we learned the interesting properties of the number 1. I hope my GMAT video lesson was clear, and it will help you to tackle each and every problem solving and data sufficiency question that will appear in your GMAT. That is all, my friends. If you found my video lesson helpful, then you should go to sandeep.mba for more information on the GMAT, how to prepare for the GMAT and applying to business schools. You should also click on that like button and let me know in the comments which topics you would like me to cover in my future video lessons. And of course, if you have not yet subscribed, then go ahead and click on that bell so that you'll get notified about my future video lessons. All the best.